to make mushroom risotto with wild shrimp and red pepper sauce. Here are the ingredients that you will need. Mushrooms, Parmesan cheese, butter, lemons, onions.
And those specific onions are called shallots.
Yeah. Garlic, rice, prosciutto. We are going to wrap our prosciutto in the shrimp. And chicken broth.
And a variety of different sizes of shrimp. Thank you, Chloe.
So I diced my shallots. I diced them pretty small. You know, I want them to be, when they're all cooked down, I want them to be smaller than the rice. So, you know, that's a pretty good size, and they'll cook down quite a bit. I'm going to do maybe 3 cloves of garlic. I'm going to cut those up, cut the ends off as usual. I'm going to crush it a little bit so I can get the husks off, the skins off, where you want to say it. I'm going to do that with all of them.
Watching a chef in action.
Yes. So, got our peels off here. So I'm just gonna dice them really quick.
One of my favorite things when you're doing this is you can barely start to smell all these smells, and you know it's just gonna get better and better as the show goes on.
I'm just gonna cut all that really thin, and then I'm just gonna go the other direction, the same thing, cut it all the way. And I'm just gonna do them all at once. Saves time. Go through it, make sure I got it all.
Now is that called dicing?
Yeah, dicing. Okay, so then I'm gonna throw that in my all I need. Okay, so I've got my garlic diced, my onions cut up. I'm gonna take about maybe 2-3 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna throw it in my pan. Take it over to the stove, and I'm gonna have Chloe over here cook this for me. I'm gonna just get them going. So I'm gonna put this on medium high so it starts simmering. I'm gonna also simmer or saute my onions and garlic. I'm gonna have Chloe do this. So Chloe will need a spatula.
So Chloe, what are you doing?
I'm sauteing our onions and garlic, and the butter is melting away fast.
Mmm, smells good. Good job, my little chef. Chef number 2.
Okay, so while Chloe's sauteing the onions, we're gonna cut up the mushrooms, and we're gonna get the white wine going. Jill, can you start the white wine?
Absolutely. I've already started.
We're gonna add about 1/2 cup, 3/4 cup of white wine, and we're gonna add those to the vegetables.
Now, why do we add this to it?
It's gonna like soak into the vegetables a little bit, and if I start it now, a lot of people think that if they cook alcohol in their food, that all the alcohol is gone from the food, which is not necessarily true. The amount of alcohol that comes out when you add it to food depends on what you're cooking it in, how long you cook it, and such like that. And I don't really like a lot of alcohol taste in my food, so I'm gonna add it right now so that, you know, in a really hot pan with nothing else, like keeping the alcohol, like electrolytes and such like that, kind of keeping alcohol, or like in a heavy sauce, like a tomato sauce, that wine's gonna a lot of the alcohol will stay in the sauce. But I'm going to add it now so most of the alcohol cooks out because I don't really like that alcohol taste in my food. So we're going to add that to our vegetables.
And then how long do we have this simmer for?
I'm going to let that go for just a couple minutes while I get my mushrooms ready. We're going to reduce it a little bit, which means to thicken it or cook some of the liquid out of it. So I'm going to cut up some mushrooms.
Now each mushroom, from what I know that you taught me, kind of has a different way of being prepped and cut.
Yeah, it depends on what we're making it for. I'm gonna make these kind of big because mushrooms are mostly water, and so they'll reduce a lot. Plus, it'll like have some chunks, and it's actually, it's what I'm making. It's a mushroom risotto, so I kind of want the mushroom to kind of be the centerpiece of the food. So I don't want the onions to be the centerpiece of the food because it's a mushroom risotto. So I cut those really small. And some of these guys.
I like all the different looks. Like each mushroom has definitely a different texture, a different look, a little bit different color.
And if you don't know, I don't like the gills. Some people do, some people don't. If I don't take the gills out of these for the risotto, it's gonna like make it look dark. And I kind of don't, I want it to be a light color. So I'm gonna take the gills out. The easiest way to do that is with a spoon, and you're just gonna get in here. I'm gonna take the stem out, and then I'm just gonna get in the sides, and I'm gonna just scrape towards the middle with the spoon. And this is like a really easy, good technique for cleaning out your mushroom. And
so scrape towards the middle, and you get the gills out.
Yeah, scrape under, try to save as much of the mushroom as you can, the good part.
I love portobellos for how meaty they are.
Yeah, totally, and that's why we're gonna put them in this, so that they have that nice texture and meaty flavor to the risotto. So I got my mushrooms cut up, about that size. Doesn't matter. I mean,
about the size of they're my digits.
Yeah, by the time they're cooked, they'll be much smaller. So I'm just going to add that to my, my sauce that I'm making here, the wine and the shallots and garlic.
It's starting to smell a little sweet in here.
Yeah, it smells good, like the wine and the garlic.
Yeah.
So we got our chicken broth simmering. Just gonna give that a stir.
So we have a little bit of savory smell going on with a little sweet smell. So it's kind of like a salty caramel ice cream smell almost.
Yeah, it does. It smells really good, doesn't it? I think it's that wine that you got.
I know it was good wine. I sacrificed for this recipe.
So we have our mushrooms and such done. That's about how I want it to look. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set this aside. I'm going to reuse this pan. Actually, no, I'm going to use a bigger saucepan. So I'm just going to set this aside. And I'm going to get a bigger saucepan. Okay. Since these are wild shrimp, they have the shell on them, so I have to prepare them. How you do that is I'm just going to grab them by the tail, and I'm just going to grab under their little flippers there and just peel them right off. And I'm going to leave the tails for my purposes.
Oh, they come off kind of like in big chunks. They don't.
Yeah.
They come off in bigger chunks than I thought.
They have like little scales, so and I'm just gonna peel these off really quickly. Make sure I get it all. Nobody wants to
Now,
eat it.
no matter what the size of shrimp, do they all peel off exactly the same way?
Yeah, if they have shells, you have to do it like that. There's instances like lemon pepper shrimp where you might want to cook them maybe cook them with their shell on, but you know, when you actually have them finally cooked, then you're gonna peel the shell off. It's just, you know, at some point. Okay, so I have my shrimp peeled. Now I'm just gonna devein them, which means I'm gonna take out their poop chute and their nerves and all that kind of crap. So let's not go into that. Anyway, so I'm just gonna grab it so that the back side is up, and I'm gonna cut straight down the middle. And it has to go straight down the middle or you're not gonna get it. So I'm just gonna take my knife and I'm just gonna move the shrimp against the knife more than I'm gonna move the knife. So I cut down the back, just gonna open it up. And if you see, this one's not very bright, but you can, it's actually, that's what I got out.
Does every single shrimp have that exact same stringy thing?
Yeah, and you wanna get that out. Some of them are just nasty. They'll have eggs sometimes. So I'm gonna peel the shrimp really quick, take the shell off. How I do that is I'll reach under the gills and just peel it off, and you shouldn't have to push down really hard. They should just come easily right off. There we go.
They're beautiful shrimp.
Yeah, these
nice
are
large ones.
They look good. Fish should never have a fishy smell. These definitely don't. If fish smells fishy, you probably shouldn't eat it. It's probably not going to taste good.
And you just took out the vein, is that what you called it?
I'm just deveining them. Yeah, it's more than just the vein, but we won't talk about that. So I just really carefully just cut right down the back. Spread it open and take out all that crud.
Now, do restaurants do this? Or is it this is something that you learned that you should do?
No, everybody does it.
Okay.
You know, if you get it like not open like that, then yuck.
Ooh,
So what I'm gonna do is
beautiful.
I'm just gonna take them now and I'm just gonna give them a quick rinse.
I am adding the second 3 cups of broth. The first was reduced. And then as I cook, I like to do taste tests along the way. And then I just taste tested this. And the wine, it just gives it a punch of flavor. And with all the different mushrooms, it gives it a different texture. Every single bite, it's really interesting. I really love it. And that white wine, depending on how much of a punch you want, you would add more wine accordingly. And that is what 6 cups of chicken broth looks like. And we will start that boiling.
So now that I have my shrimp rinsed, and I just, you know, rinsed it so I got all the, made sure I got all the veins and such out of it. Now I'm gonna wrap them with prosciutto, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take it and I'm just gonna kind of tear the prosciutto ham down the middle so I have 2 pieces so that I can actually wrap it around the shrimp. I wouldn't be able to do that if it was like a whole thick piece. So I'm just gonna wrap it really quick around my ham, around my shrimp. Pretty simple. I'm gonna start at the bottom, start at the top, just give it a quick wrap.
Ooh, it's beautiful too. It looks almost like a little rose.
Yeah, it's good. This is gonna be great. It tastes good. There's so many different things you can do with shrimp. And this is gonna be like a side. I'm not gonna actually cook the shrimp into my risotto. I think in my opinion, it'll be better like this.
We like to wrap a lot of things in prosciutto.
Yeah, a lot of things. Asparagus.
That's our favorite.
Yep, and I think I'm gonna do a little of that tonight too. And so there you go, you know. So to a large saucepan, I'm gonna add. Put that down a little bit, so my rice doesn't stick to the pan and give it a nice flavor. go. Then we're going to add doesn't really matter. I could add a cup of rice. I could add a cup and a half of rice. It doesn't really matter that much. So I'm just going to brown my rice really quick, which means just kind of cook it on a medium-high heat. So just until it has a little bit of brown color. And to do that, I'm going to need to toss it temperature so it doesn't burn.
That's funny that you say tend to it. When I was buying the shrimp and telling them I was going to make risotto, they're like, oh no, that's so hard. You have to stand there the whole time with your risotto. I'm like,
oh, okay, so I've got my rice cooked or brown. You notice it's just got a little bit of a brown tinge to it. I'm going to add about a half a cup at a time of chicken broth. And I'm going to just stir that until all the liquid is gone.
here's like a little.
And the reason you do this is because when I'm done, it'll be al dente, you know, or just barely cooked. I want it to be just right. I want it to have like almost like a creamy texture to it.
Everyone talks about how hard risotto is. Why do people say that?
Well, I think just because you can't stick it in the microwave and cook it in a few minutes. I mean, we like things to be fast these days, and I have to sit here and stir this for the whole time that I make it. Risotto really isn't a hard thing to make, not at all. You just have to pay attention to it the whole time.
Now, you told me a really interesting story about risotto and the king. Can you tell me that story? You told me that that risotto was made for kings.
Alrighty. So here we go. We're just kind of stirring away here. So the risotto is probably tied to Italy because of the Parmesan cheese and the rice. And each time that I do this, you know, half a cup of liquid, I'm gonna just almost stir it till all the liquid is out. You know, not so much that it burns, but pretty close to all of it being out. And it certainly doesn't take long to do it.
And this is the second half cup that we have put in there. So we've already went through a half a cup of the liquid, and we have it continually boiling over here, and we got half a cup, and then it's almost
Time to add more.
Yep.
So we got, I'm just gonna give it just a little bit more. If you notice, I mean, you see what I got here. It's just, you know, a little bit over here. And that's about all I'm gonna get before it starts to burn. So I'm gonna just get over here. I'm gonna scoop a little more liquid. Rice. And I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do this again and again and again until the rice is tender.
And about how long are you going to be doing this for? About how long do you do this?
You know, it doesn't take as long as people think. It's probably gonna take me about 20 minutes, 25 minutes to do this.
And you add a half a cup at a time.
Half a cup at a time.
So I was just giving my little Zoe a bath, and all of a sudden, all these sweet smells started coming towards the bathtub. What are you up to, Phil?
Well, I'm getting pretty close here. I mean, my rice is getting pretty big. Just added a little bit more chicken stock. I'd say I've got about, maybe half a cup left to add. I've got maybe 2 cups of chicken broth left simmering. When I'm done with this, I will add the mushrooms, shallots, and garlic, and then I'll add Parmesan cheese and Saggio cheese.
Now, is there a certain reason why you pick certain cheeses for this?
Oh, you always want to use a hard cheese. Like I said, it's, something from Italy, so you're usually going to use a hard, flavorful cheese. Parmesan, Saggio, Romano, something like that. I'm going to go with Parmesan always. So I'm getting really close here. So I'm really gonna taste it. Even without all the stuff in it, it's starting to taste so good. Ooh, can't even tell you. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna add about another half a cup. It's pretty dang close. It's still a little al dente, which means undercooked. But I'm just gonna keep adding until we're done.
And then when you say done, that means when you put liquid in there, no more will absorb. Is that the trick?
Oh no, I could probably keep adding it. I could cook it until it's overcooked. The trick is, what we're trying to do here is to get it perfectly cooked, which means, not too much and not too little. As soon as I taste it and it's done, it's done. And this is like eating like a steak or something. It's only good for, it's not one of those things that you eat the next day and it's better than it was the first day. It's definitely better right now when you eat it. Just you have until it gets cold, just like a steak, to eat it. I'm just gonna taste it one more time.
And then when you say al dente, what would be the texture? Like biting into a what?
It's just a little bit, tiny bit undercooked, a little tiny bit hard.
Okay.
And it still is, so I'm gonna add just a little more here. And this whole thing, risotto is super simple. People say it's hard, but it isn't. I'm just, I cut up some shallots, I cut up some mushrooms, I cut up some onions, and then all I'm doing is slowly adding chicken broth to rice until the rice is cooked. And then I'm just gonna add some whatever I want. Risotto is super versatile. You can do so many things with it. I could add carrots, I could add peas, I could, anything. I could cook it with fish, shrimp. I could cook asparagus into it. Any vegetable you could pretty much imagine that you think would go good with it would work with it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's starting to get that nice
golden color.
Yeah, and it has, it's a little bit creamy,
fluffy.
Yep. And the trick right now, as I go, is, as I've cooked it so far, I stir it, I cook a little more stuff into it. But the last time I add stuff, that's when I want it to be a certain thickness, because I'm gonna actually add cheese to it. So that last time, I might want it to be like this. I think I need a little bit more, but that's about the consistency I would want it to be, maybe a little bit more cooked.
Like tapioca kind of before it's settled.
Because I'm gonna actually add cheese, and I don't want it to be, I don't want it to be like a thick clump when you eat it. I want it to be like almost, yeah, like not so runny as a tapioca, but I want it to have like almost a little bit of the soupy texture to it.
And is the cheese a thickener in that?
Yeah, it'll definitely thicken it up. Because like if I cooked it all the way down and then I added the cheese, it would like I have been as I've gone, it would be way too thick for me when I was done. So I'm just gonna taste it. I should be really close now. Yeah, that's really close.
Wow. I don't know.
Yeah,
Taste
might
all the
as
stuff.
well. I'm gonna give it a tiny bit more.
It's very savory with that chicken broth. I can't wait till all the different
All
flavors
the
start to
stuff's
combine.
added in,
Oh my
yeah.
god, it was so good.
So now I'm just going to reduce the heat. So, you know, I've had it boiling now. I'm going to reduce the heat a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more, maybe.
So it is almost exactly 6
quarter
cups.
cup. Yeah, it almost ended up being 6 cups. But, you know, I cooked, that was boiling the whole time I was cooking it. So, you know, that chicken broth actually reduced. I probably lost maybe a cup and a half of liquid just as it sat over there. And so here we go.
Cast off. Done.
Let's say I'm just gonna cook it for just a little bit longer.
And then we grate it on the smallest grater. Is that right?
Yeah. With this, I don't really think it matters too much.
Okay.
I'm just gonna melt it in anyway.
Okay.
With a salad or something like that, you would want to use the small, like the small, not that little tiny setting. That would be maybe for like a pasta or something like that. But you know, just whatever that you can melt the cheese in, and we just want to put it in kind of fast here at the end. So I'm done. It's cooked, and that's about the texture I want. So now what I'm gonna do, you know, I've reduced the heat, and now I'm gonna add my mushrooms and such.
Zoe likes to make the videos. Zoe, this is for you someday. I'm making you risotto. And then when you're older watching this, you're so gonna love it. She just got out of the bath. All right, sorry, back to the show.
I'm gonna stir it in here.
So you just mix those mushrooms
yeah,
and shallots and garlic with the risotto.
Yeah, all the juices, everything. You know, I'm gonna check how thick I thought that made it, and that's a little bit too thick. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more. And because of that, I had it hot already and boiling over there. I can do this.
Oh, it looks amazing. That wasn't going. This is beautiful shrimp.
So I'm gonna cook it just enough now to cook the prosciutto on both sides.
So here's our beautiful large jumbo shrimp. And we're adding some garlic to infuse it with the butter. And then this is on low, waiting for our beautiful shrimp. Oh my god.
So I got my garlic, my shrimp with the prosciutto ham cooking. I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon.
The flavors that are coming out of this
I'm gonna
are
add a little bit
incredible.
of lemon to my risotto. And give it a little bit of acid.
It smells like you're at an amazing restaurant.
Now I'm gonna add
But it's even better.
about, you know, a cup and a half of Parmesan. Oops.
You can add it all at one time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, all I need to do is just melt it in now. So I'm just gonna stir it in. Set that down.
We have the chives on there waiting. Ooh, and the garlic and the butter and the shrimp and the prosciutto. The little bit of zest with the lemon.
Just smells so
Oh my
good,
god.
doesn't it? It's so good. I'm just gonna stir it in.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. So
you have the cheese. There's so many different distinctive smells all coming together.
Right, and it was simple. I mean, that's all I did is, you know, I just...
Nice creamy
Cooked it up.
texture. Ooh, you can see that cheese. Now, how long do we keep these shrimp on here?
Shrimp take just maybe like 7 minutes. These are kind of big. You know, I don't want to cook them too much.
And you cook them longer because the prosciutto is wrapped around them, is that correct?
I'll probably just say just a little bit longer. You know, I definitely don't want to overcook them, but I don't want them to be pink either.
And then how do you tell when these are done?
You know, I just like look at them. They're, you know, they'll change from a pink to kind of a white. You know, you can kind of look down the spine and, like, you know, I can see how that's white. And these are pretty much done. So here's my prosciutto. I mean, you know, my shrimp, and then this is my risotto, and it's done. Mushroom risotto with Parmesan cheese, and now we're gonna eat it. Yay!